Hello friends, today we are going to discuss a very important topic related to Manusmriti. Uh, Many people believe that Manu was such a demon who didn't want women to get the knowledge of Vedas. Manu kept women uneducated entirely. They didn't have right to get any sanskar or study Vedas. So basically, the education in that time meant that it should be confined to the study of Vedas or getting the knowledge of mantras or getting philosophical education. It wasn't something like secular education which provided the knowledge of science or maths that much deeply. So when it says that they don't have right to study Vedas, that would mean that they remained uneducated according to them. So that is a kind of demon that they pull out of Manu, and he was such a demonic character that he subjugated women as much as he subjugated Shudras. So in that way, so let's discuss two main verses which are relevant in this point. The first one comes from the second chapter, which says that even for a woman, the performance of sanskaras are necessary and they should be performed, but they should be performed without uttering Vedic mantras. So that is itself in contradiction to Vedas itself. The Yajurved itself says that every varna and all people should get the knowledge of Vedas. So that was the basic point. And even in relation to the education of Shudras, when they say that Manu prohibited the education of Sudras, that was also in contradiction to the Yajurved itself. So wherever it is inferred that Manu prohibited every other varna or many people from getting education of Vedas, that is not right. Either his verses are misinterpreted, or maybe he had not written it very clear manner. That is to be seen in that way. So if we say that regarding the study of Vedas, if women are not allowed to study Vedas or not allowed to chant Vedic mantras, that is not happening. That it is a completely misinterpretation of what Manu wanted to say. So the basic point is that when he mentioned the Upnayan sanskaras of all the three varnas, and he excluded Shudras and also excluded women. So if we see that way, that then he didn't prohibit women from getting the Vedic education itself. He simply didn't prescribe the woman going into Gurukul and living in guidance with the Vedic teachers and get the Vedic education through that. But he didn't prohibit women from getting Vedic education through other means. So the other means was basically in their homes, through their fathers and brothers, and through their husbands after marriage. And that is a very common thing to be seen in many of the scriptures. Like if you see that in Brihadaranyaka, Yajnavalkya teaches the knowledge of Vedas to his wives. Then secondly, we also see that Gargi is debating with Yajnavalkya in the political discourse or in the spiritual discussion in the Janak's debate. Women were equipped with the proper knowledge to debate with sages, and they were not seen like some just unpar and uneducated people who have no idea, so they should not be discussing that. They should not even be chanting the Vedic mantras, and especially related to the chanting of mantras. So, even in chapter 9, which they quote, that uh, women have no right to study Vedas. That is why their sanskaras are performed without Ved mantras. Women have no knowledge to a religion because they have no right to know the Vedas. The uttering of Vedic mantras is useful for removing sin, as women cannot utter Ved mantras. They are as unclean as untruth is. So that is outrageous. First, the translation is very outrageous. They took Anritam word to a very huge extent. See, the discourse that we see the women are doing in the epics, like Sita is discussing with Ram, Mandodari is discussing with Ravan, Kaikai is discussing with Dashrath. So they are talking about dharma, even the discourse of Draupadi in the Sabha. So when they are talking about dharma, the other male person is not saying something like, you shut up, you don't know anything about religion or dharma, you don't have right to speak about it. They are not dismissing them entirely. They obviously have the knowledge, they are speaking their opinion, and they are not discouraged from speaking their opinion. So that is one thing that needs to be kept in mind. Secondly, as far as the Vedic mantras are concerned, the Vedas itself have chapters that in which Vedic Rishikas are the seers, not just the males. So Vedas obviously contain those chapters in which Vedic mantras are given by the women, not just by men. So it is just impossible and in complete contradiction of Vedas to say that women have no right to study the Vedas. It is, how do I say it? This is completely, entirely false allegation that they put on the Manusmriti. And also, I would like to mention that the chapter 9, the verse 18th number they are talking about, it is in context of, it is in entirely wrong context. Either someone added it, or why did they put this kind of thing in the chapter when they are describing about the protection of women. So in that context, if you see that chapter 9, the way it starts, like fathers and husbands need to protect the woman from wrong happenings, and then it also says that women of low character might indulge in some kind of activities that shouldn't be. And then surprisingly a verse comes which says that Brahma created woman in this or that kind of manner, and it degenerates the woman class. So I think that verse is entirely imposed and adulterated. It shouldn't be there. Maybe it was added later. And that's my opinion. So specifically this verse, if we talk about 18th verse, and if it implies that women have no right to study Vedas, that is completely untrue. One another thing I would like to mention, that Vedas doesn't just consist of Samhitas, it consists of Upanishads, Brahmanas, and in Shakpat Brahman it says that woman is the wife is actually as while participating in the yajna, she is cleaning the prana. The victim, actually it is the sacrifice as a symbol of prana, so I would say it is she is cleaning the prana, and in that process she is speaking the Yajurved mantras. So that is in complete contradiction with what Manu seems to be saying here, that they have no right to utter Vedic mantras. It doesn't happen. So that is what I wanted to say, and the the way it is portrayed that there was completely no right of a woman to get any education in the Vedic period or even later. It was not um, that case. Um, it might have happened during the British times. Might have there might have some situation in which they could be seen as not getting able to get education, and that's how they put some lines in the Manusmriti. But if we talk about Vedas, they do not have any such kind of prohibition, or even in the epics, it is not that way. Yeah, women got education not through the Gurukul way, but they still got the education in other ways. Uh, Even if you see the verse of in the chapters when Kaikeyi is seen helping Dashrath in his wars against the Asuras. So how did she get the skill of driving the chariot and saving the king in that devastating conflict? So obviously she got skill from somewhere, even if she didn't get the skill from the gurus by staying in the Gurukul, but she obviously got the skill from somewhere, and women are obviously equipped with proper knowledge as much as men. It is a myth that is propagated, and it is completely false and misleading. So we will discuss some of the other things related to women in Manusmriti in further videos. Thanks.